Hey there, this is Gray. I'm the producer for Lived In. Just wanted to let you know that we've had some audio issues with the next two episodes, so please bear with us. Even though the audio isn't perfect, these are still two very wonderful conversations that should be heard. Thank you for listening and being a part of our Lived In family. Now, on to the episode.
For me, let's say I hear a particular song. Oh yeah, I remember that when I was a junior in high school, and we were driving down the road, and not only can I hear it, I start feeling stuff in my body. That's my emotional reaction to it. Connecting the visualization to emotion, to me, is a key element. Okay, it's feeling what you're seeing, hearing, tasting. So when you can connect those two, that is powerful. That is very powerful.
Welcome to Lived In by Zoe Therapy Services. I'm your host, Micah Faye, and I'm excited to share with you a community of experts who specialize in helping you feel fantastic. That's what Lived In aims to be, an online hub for DIY wellness led by the experts and curated by folks who care. In this wellness series, I interview Richmond community leaders, vendors, and healers to empower you with a toolkit, one filled with healthy practices to make every day just a little bit better. So welcome to Lived In, your online comfy couch, surrounded by friends and supported by experts. Come on in. We're excited to have you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lived In. I'm your host, Micah Faye, and today we have with us Randy Dunning, who is a mental performance consultant, and he today is going to tell us all about what he does and how we can apply it in our lives.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Micah. A mental performance consultant is exactly, what it sounds like. I help people to perform better from a mental aspect. Regarding a lot of different things in their lives. I tend to work mostly with performer types, and by that I mean athletes, singers, dancers, speakers, businessmen, people who in some form or fashion need to perform on a level that will assure some type of success. And obviously people that are primed for success want to perform better and better and better. And so I work with them using a number of different techniques and modes that will help them to perform better. Now, this performance could be for whatever you want to perform better at in life. So it's not just for those types.
Okay. So then could you break down what it means to be a mental performance consultant as though I'm a fifth grader? Could you tell me what that looks like practically day in and day out? Okay.
Well, I'm a little concerned because that show about the fifth graders, I wasn't able to answer all those questions, and now I'm feeling a little bit. No, what it means is that your mind works better.
Okay.
In the way you want it to work.
Sure.
Okay. And whatever that is, and it may be something as simple as I want to do better on tests. Okay, and I don't want to feel anxious.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the fifth graders now, as well as the 20-year-olds that are in college, or I want to perform better on stage. I want to perform better when I'm doing a particular part of my business. And as you know, for different businesses, the performance aspect is speaking, delivering information to a client so that they'll know what benefits they achieve from utilizing your particular product or service so that they can be more successful. That is all performance. Okay, you want to perform better in some form or fashion. Okay, it could be even something as simple as I want to perform my sleep time better. Okay, I have, let's say that someone comes to me and says I'm having a difficulty sleeping. To me, that's a performance issue.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I treat it. I use, as I said, a bunch of different modes.
Right.
But primarily I use hypnosis, visualization, and something called neuro-linguistic programming, which a fifth grader would probably have difficulty with. But it's basically the way you use words so that your mind understands what it is you're trying to communicate.
Okay, so let's break this down. There are 3 modes that you use primarily.
Yes.
So hypnosis, let's talk about that one first.
Okay.
Because the way that I came to know about you was not Randy Dunning, mental performance consultant. It was Randy Dunning, hypnotist.
Yeah.
So tell me about that part. I'm really interested.
The first thing I do when I walk in and I'm talking to a group of people is I ask them, how many of you have ever been hypnotized?
Mm-hmm.
Usually get, a sprinkling here or there. And then I tell them, you would be surprised to know that you've been hypnotized today. And almost every day, you've been in hypnosis in some form or fashion.
Right.
And I'll hear, no, I haven't. Yeah, I'll hear people moan or disagree from the audience, and I'll say, have you ever driven somewhere
Not knowing how you got
and
there.
not knowing how you got there? You were in hypnosis. You were in a hypnagogic state. That's a fun word.
I like that word. Yeah.
You were in a state of focus and relaxation.
Okay.
That's the main state of hypnosis.
All right.
Very focused, very relaxed.
Okay.
Okay, and when you're focused and relaxed, a lot of things happen in your brain that most people don't know about. Your brain actually slows down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you will think about it in revolutions per minute, like a tire going around, your brain has the same kind of circuitry, let's call it.
Okay.
So that your brain, in our state right now, when we're talking, is in a state called beta.
Right.
It's kind of the normal state. There's a state above beta, and then there's several below it.
Right.
And that one below it is called alpha. Don't ask me why they went backwards. But that state, your brain is slower, and you have access to a part of your brain called the subconscious.
Okay.
Some people call it the non-conscious.
Okay.
But that part of your brain actually directs, some people believe, 89 to 95% of everything you do your entire life.
Right.
Okay? Some people call it the autonomic nervous system. That's more of a medical term. But your mind in the background gets so many hundreds of thousands of pieces of information a day.
Yeah.
That the subconscious mind they're like a clerk, and they go, we don't need that, and we don't need that, and we don't need that. So all that information comes in. Oh, that's one I remember, and we need to deal with that.
Right.
And so a lot of the subconscious mind has already been conditioned, or what we now today would be called programmed, very early in life, and its particular purpose was, in that time, let's say 1 to 5, its purpose was to keep you safe and comfortable and fed.
Right.
And so all those things that were programmed into your subconscious mind at that time, the basics of survival and comfort, are there early. And they change as you go through your life, but a lot of times that subconscious reaction to things, like things that maybe when you were 4 years old you considered dangerous, are no longer dangerous because you're an adult, and you know that you can use it for good purposes. You know how to avoid the bad part of it, that type of thing.
Wow. I was manically afraid of dragonflies as a 4-year-old.
Okay.
I still struggle with it a little bit.
Well, interestingly enough, neuro-linguistic programming is one of the things that is used for phobias or fears. There's an interesting exercise I remember from when I was trained many years ago with neuro-linguistic programming that still sticks in my mind. And if you're interested, I'll tell you about it. Okay, so there was someone in the class who was deathly afraid of spiders. Okay. And the instructor said, "How big are you?" And the person, it was actually a guy, said, "I'm 5'11". He goes, "How big is that spider?" The guy goes, well, it doesn't matter how big it is. He said, but doesn't it really? He said, no, because it could bite me. And he said, well, do you fear that the person walking next to you is going to bite you? He said, no. He goes, let's do an exercise. And so the exercise that he did was, he said, I want you to take that spider and I want you to make it as big as you are. And the guy's eyes got big.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, do this in your imagination now. Do it now. Now, let's make a cartoon character out of it. Let's make him dance. Let's use some Disney voices in the background. What are you going to choose? And the guy chose, I can't remember, this was a long time ago, but it was a funny voice, like Foghorn Leghorn or something.
Yeah.
And so let's get that guy dancing and talking. And what would you want to say to him? And what would you? And so he made it into almost a comedy situation.
Yeah.
So that the guy, and he said, next time that you see a spider, I want you to do that with the spider. It's playtime.
Yeah.
And so I've used something similar to that in a number of cases. And in hypnosis, when the subconscious mind is available and open for suggestions, using that NLP technique, which has been very beneficial and successful. Just simple things.
I'm reminded of Harry Potter. I don't know if you've read these books.
I know every single one of them. I've seen every single movie. My daughter is a huge Harry Potter fan. She's got, I don't know how many wands. Yes.
Then you know of the boggart.
Yeah.
It requires the same reticolo. It requires the same process for you to make the terrifying thing hilarious.
Exactly. And that's from NLP.
I wonder if Rowling knew about that, or if she just was sort of going off an instinct.
I don't know.
What I mean?
That would be interesting.
Wow, so we really can. There are boggarts in the world, and we can fight
absolutely.
them with the ridiculous charm.
Yeah. And I think if you can take most anything and make it ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
That's so fun.
Right.
So I'm curious, can we go down the road of hypnosis for a little while longer? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
I'm just curious. I think when folks hear hypnosis, they think you're getting very sleepy.
Right.
And I'm just curious how, one, that perception affects your everyday practice. Like, do you have to fight that pretty often? And two, how different is very real hypnosis, like you do, from you're getting very sleepy, which I assume is not real?
I'd say the first comments I usually get are you going to make me quack like a duck, or
right,
or cluck like a chicken, or that's stage hypnosis. That's a different usage of hypnosis, and those people that do the stage hypnosis, who are very talented,
right,
are using techniques to determine which of the people in the audience are the most suggesting and the most easily hypnotized, and there's different ways to do that. And so that is used for a different purpose. The purpose that I'm using it for, and most hypnotists are using it for, is for therapeutic type, to help what my National Guild calls everyday people with everyday challenges.
Right.
Okay. Now I have a particular focus group, but they're still everyday people, you know. And so it's much different. Hypnosis is experienced by people in different ways.
Okay.
I have been using hypnosis since the mid-'80s, and I have experienced hypnosis in many ways over that time period.
Yeah.
But the best I can tell you is, if you remember what it feels like to be really relaxed and really focused on something, that's what hypnosis feels like. And that's what it really is.
So I'm curious about people, like I have diagnosed severe PTSD.
Okay.
So my brain never gets out of beta. It stays in beta constantly. Right. That's where I am all the time.
Right.
I wonder if people that have had traumatic experience have more difficulty, because I cannot remember the last time I felt actually relaxed. I don't know if I've ever felt relaxed personally. So I wonder, is it do you have to do more work with people with traumatic
There's
backgrounds?
different techniques. They're actually using hypnosis as part of PTSD protocols.
I've heard that.
Okay, and I know that for a fact because I know someone who in the service has been involved in that particular trial.
Really?
So it's used in conjunction with other things.
Okay.
But PTSD is one of the things that you are seeing more and more hypnosis used for.
Interesting.
Now, the funny thing about trauma,
Mm-hmm.
there's not anything funny about trauma, but the odd thing about trauma is most people think of PTSD as some huge event that occurred,
Right.
or a series of events.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's easy to know for someone who has been in a war, in the middle of combat, someone who's had a huge automobile accident or has been the victim of some type of violent crime,
Right.
those types of things. But there are situations where someone exhibits PTSD by what I call a number of paper cuts. Over and over and over again. You'll usually see that in family situations.
Yes, you will.
Where those paper cuts are things that were said, continuous negative actions toward a particular person over a long period of time, where that paper cut has now come into a huge major wound that has all these things that have added up and has become a PTSD event over a long series of years.
Right.
So, yes, hypnosis has been used and is being used and is being studied. And if you go to the National Institutes of Health, you'll see a number of trials going on for hypnosis, and I believe 2 of them were for PTSD the last time I looked.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I've since we've started this project where we've been interviewing people like you, I've learned a lot about the brain and brain waves specifically.
Right.
I've even done neurofeedback at this point and
Right.
learned.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and learned that my brain lives in beta in a way that I didn't know it did, right?
Right.
And so I'm learning so many things about my brain and how it functions in this world.
Well, I'll tell you a fun story about brains and brain waves. A friend of mine has a computer program that was developed that you could make art out of your brain waves. And so his art was wild and crazy. He's very high energy, much like my wife. Very high energy, very all over the place, and really fun. And he said, I want to do a piece of art based on your brain. And I said, which brain? My brain, but at what level? And he said, can you put it in different levels? And I said, sure.
Yeah.
So we went through and I put it in alpha, which is the one right below what we're talking about.
Right.
And the art was much different than the one in beta.
Right.
None of them were like his because he was, on go, open all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. He said, well, how did you put it down there? And I told him how I did it. He said, I don't know if I could do that. I said, you can, but you would have to probably initially let someone guide you through it. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a guide. I'm nothing more than a guide for you to achieve what you want to achieve when you come in and talk to me.
Right.
Okay. And I know how to guide you to do what you want to do.
Right.
I don't know how to guide you to do what you don't want to do, and that's one of the misconceptions of hypnosis.
Interesting.
There's a misconception out there that what is going to happen is someone's going to grab my brain and they're going to control it and make me do stuff I don't want to do. No, because whatever your moral compass is, that's the cutoff.
Right.
Okay? And because of the state you're in, even if you get down to theta, which is the next one down,
Right.
I'm not going to be able to do. I'm not going to be able to make you do something that you don't want to do.
Right.
Okay.
So then, is that to suggest that in stage hypnosis, these people actually want to be led to quack like
Yes,
ducks?
absolutely. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you were a stage hypnotist and you said, I'm taking volunteers, and you see somebody put their hand up real quick, you go, come on up.
It's
Because you know
right?
that person wants to do this.
Yeah.
They want to have fun. They want to experience it, etc., etc.
Right.
So that's really an easy clue
Okay.
right off the bat. And there's some other things they do as well when they get the people up there. But yes.
Yeah.
The other thing that people don't do enough of that particularly hypnosis or meditation, either one does, is it allows you to have some period of time that's just for you. And that's part of what I describe when we go into the first part of the process of getting you relaxed.
Right.
Let yourself, allow yourself, if you will, to have 15 minutes or 30 minutes of just you time.
Right.
And this is all this is about. It's just about you. And at that point, your mind goes, oh, this is about me. I deserve 30 minutes, at least, at this point, to just do something for me. I mean, it's really much like going in and, getting in a hot tub. I'm going to take 15 minutes just to relax my body in this hot tub. Well, this is a mental hot tub.
I love it. A mental hot tub.
Yeah.
That's a good line. You should put that on your business card.
So.
Randy Dunning, mental hot tub. Sounds great.
Yeah. Anyway, so just think about it that way. There are different ways. The first part of a hypnosis session is something called the induction.
Okay.
And all the induction does is relax you.
Right.
Okay, so that you can take the suggestions that you have asked the hypnotist, the guide, the mental performance consultant to incorporate into your session. That's all it is.
So then, how does someone know to come see you? Like, what point do I say, all right, this is it, I need to go see a hypnotist?
That's a great question. Most people don't know to go see someone that does mental performance consulting of any type, whether it's hypnosis, NLP, or cognitive behavioral therapy, which is done by a number of the licensed therapists. And I'll use some little features from that as well because I'm familiar with it. But a lot of people will either have been told by someone else who has seen a hypnotist or a mental performance consultant and they've had good results, or they'll say, I've tried everything else. I'm going to go see somebody. Or they'll see an advertisement or something about, hey, do this and that, and then they'll come see someone. Or in my circumstances, I'll have someone who is either a mental health professional say, hey, this is something you might want to go, do this, or a coach, or a stage manager, someone in the group, the musical group, those types of things. And, hey, I know a guy. This person's having trouble with stage anxiety. Go see Randy. Let's see if that'll help out any. Because the only thing anxiety is fear of the future based on something you thought happened in the past.
Okay.
You're not staying in the present moment. The present moment is not the future, and it's not the past.
I'm curious, because you specify in performance and performers of all different kinds.
Whatever. Yeah, and I'll take, let's say someone comes to me, just like I said before, says, I have a problem with anxiety.
Sure.
So I want to perform better in life without being anxious.
So I've bitten my nails my whole life, down to the nub. And one treatment, I've tried everything. One treatment I haven't tried is hypnosis. And I know a lot of people have great success. So then you're probably not treating the nail biting, though. You're treating the anxiety that
causes
the nail biting.
Right, exactly.
Okay. But that's not, I guess that's not performance. I don't really know. I'm just kind of curious now.
No, but yeah, those are types of things that hypnosis can address.
Right.
And actually, you probably do other things other than nail biting that's also part of the anxiety.
Of course.
It's usually a triangle of some type. In the way I've seen it, it's an upside down triangle. Here's the problem, and here are the ways that it's manifesting itself.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are small, like nail biting, and some of them are large, like I don't want to go out of the house.
Right. Right.
So
then the performance that you're addressing then, even if it seems like a small problem, a client could still come to you because likely it's your body's sacred messaging system saying something else is.
your subconscious mind is always talking to you.
Yeah. Huh.
And you hear the little voices in your head.
Yeah.
You know, all the time. I'm having a conversation over here while we're having a conversation.
Yeah. Right.
I'm having the conversation over here where it's saying, what are the things I can draw from to answer her question while I'm talking with you?
Right.
So we all do that.
And I'm thinking, what are questions I can ask him that make him comfortable and feel like an expert and also are useful for our viewers? So
True.
We're balancing, I guess.
Yeah.
So then I'm curious, you started this in the 80s, and I also know from our previous conversations that you're a military kid. So I just really want to know how a military kid in the 80s began doing this kind of work. How did you get here?
Well, I'm a combination military kid and preacher's son.
Right.
So I was always driven internally to achieve in whatever I felt was an important thing to achieve in. Later in life, it was academics, but early in life, it was not. Although I certainly had the capability, I proved to myself that in college. But I think one of the things that always interested me when I was looking at sports, because that was a lot of my focus early on in life, was how come some people performed better than others, but they didn't have the same skill set? And I felt like that was something that I was good at. I was a better than average athlete, but I was not an elite athlete by any stretch of the imagination. But I could see people with elite athletic skills not perform as well as someone who had lesser skills, and I wanted to know why.
Right.
And I started thinking about it and then studying it a little bit, and determined that it really had to do with desire, and desire has to do with mental focusing, mental capability, using the mental part of your body to achieve something. And then, of course, that took me later into other avenues. I mean, most people don't really know that, for instance, Tiger Woods, a lot of the top athletes, Tiger Woods started doing hypnosis with a Stanford professor when he was in his mid-teens.
Sure.
And meditation. They always talk about, hey, you know, his mom was from a particular environment that was meditative. Well, meditation and hypnosis have a lot of similarities, okay?
Right.
With someone to guide you, particularly as a 14-year-old, okay? That is very beneficial because you really don't know how to guide yourself like you would want to later in life at 14 years old.
Right. So then does it become you're the guide and then do I do homework?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
If you don't do the things that are necessary to accomplish it, it's just like anything else. It's not going to have the major effect. And some of what you're doing, the homework, is actually in the session. Okay? So hypnosis is all about relaxation and taking instruction.
Sure.
And these are the instructions you said that you want me to give you. Okay? Anyone that's working with hypnosis that starts giving you a set of instructions that has nothing to do with what you've asked them to do and has no connection, you're going to, because you're in a state of alertness, your mind's going to go, well, what is that person doing and what is that activity? That's a red flag. Okay, and that red flag will come up in your subconscious mind.
So then how do you become a guide? What was your training?
Oh, well, here's kind of my story.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So I was I always loved competition.
Right.
Much of it was sports, up through college. But then when I got in the business world, the business I was in was in the finance world, a very specialized area.
Yeah.
Very competitive, very stressful,
Yeah.
10, 12-hour days, on the road a lot. So you begin to see the stress add up in different ways. And so I thought at the time, I was a number of years into my career at that time, and I talked to a friend of mine, and I said, do you know any stress management techniques? This was a physician friend of mine that you think are beneficial. He goes, I know some, but I've got a friend of mine who is a psychologist,
Right.
who's been working with people using hypnosis, and some of them are patients of mine and some are friends, and he's had pretty good results. Maybe you should go try it. And I'm one of those people that will almost try anything once, and if someone else has had success, I want to know why.
Right.
So I went to see him. He talked to me about it, and it was much different than it is now, okay? Because you were put in a separate room, and there was a glass in between. He was speaking through a microphone. It was all very kind of otherworldly. And immediately, after that session, I felt my stress levels go down like a humongous amount.
Right.
Hypnosis is one of the greatest things for stress, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's very much like meditation, but it's guided.
Right.
It's like a guided meditation, but it's actually focused on the things you want to achieve. You want to, direct.
Right.
So I was hooked, and I learned more and more about it. And as I went through my career, I used it in different ways for different things, and it was something that became almost a passion for me.
Yeah.
And then when I finally decided that this finance career is done, in my particular part of the finance career, you either become a very, very high level. I was a managing director when I decided to stop, and or you burn out, or the industry says you're too old.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. You either have to accept it or be a grumpy person the rest of your life. And so anyway, as I was transitioning out, I started thinking about, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And one of the things that I determined was I want to somehow give back and help people. What's your passion? And I went through a number of different things, and one of them was hypnosis, and I was like, mental performance, helping people. And so it all started to gel.
Yeah.
And I learned kind of the other things around hypnosis. The visualization was part of some sports.
Okay.
And then I learned a little bit about NLP, and I went and got certified in that, and I understood it more. I like portions of it.
Yeah.
The portions of it that I find helpful and most successful. Some portions of it I don't care for.
Right.
Same with visualizations.
Okay.
Okay. Same with things I've learned from meditation. I
Right.
incorporate the different elements of different things I find to be successful for people.
Sure.
And so at that point, 10 years ago, I got my initial certification in hypnosis, and then I got my advanced certification in hypnosis, and then I got my sports certification in hypnosis. And I've done a couple of other things. I'm working right now on pain management certification for specialties. In hypnosis, you can have special certifications which involve advanced training.
Okay.
And so, I went through that process, and I'm in the middle of doing the pain management process. It's very interesting. There's some different elements of it that I understood but wasn't aware kind of how they work that I am now.
Right.
So the training's been very beneficial, and particularly for performers, whether you're an athlete or a dancer, there are going to be injuries and pain in some form or fashion.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to incorporate that into what I offered to those people in general. And then I've worked with people with cancer before. I've worked with people with going into significant operations. So I want to be able to, and most of these were friends of friends of friends, or people who knew a friend who said, Randy doesn't usually work on this, but I think he might. And so I did, and actually felt a sense of gratitude for the capability of helping someone who needed help. That is, I mean, obviously you want to get paid for what you do, but the real gratification for me at this point in my life is actually seeing someone perform better, feel better, achieve something that they want to achieve in their life.
Right.
So it's become a passion as opposed to a business.
Right.
And I know for most of my life, I didn't connect the two until I started learning about the brain and how you function when the brain is happy. And I was like, oh man, I used all that part of my life and didn't know this. So anyway, it is a very satisfactory type of service to be able to help people help themselves.
Right.
Because I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself.
Right.
So.
I wonder how that affects your interpersonal relationships, right? Like, how do you talk to yourself? Do you think it's different than the way other people talk to themselves with all this knowledge that you have?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Okay, so what's like the number one thing that the average layman can do to talk better to themselves based on your knowledge?
Well, every time a negative thought comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have to practice this over and over hundreds of times. Okay, this isn't something you do once.
Okay.
This is something you do for years. Okay. Every time a negative thought comes up, you say, well, what's the positive thought that's the opposite of that negative thought?
Okay.
And why can't I have that positive thought? Oh, that feels better. Let's see what that feels like. Right. And so it takes time, and the biggest part of it is actually noticing when it happens.
Right.
That takes a while.
Yeah.
And so what happens in the beginning is you have your old negative thoughts, and then the thought pops in your mind. I wonder, Randy said, what's the opposite of this? And you've caught it one time.
Right.
Not the thousands and thousands of times that it's going to come up. And I miss them still. Yeah. And I've been doing it for a while. So you caught that first one, and you thought about it, and you get the feeling of that, okay? And you go, that was cool. And then a couple of days later, you might catch it again.
Right.
And so it happens over a period of time. You don't have to concentrate on catching it. You just have to catch it.
Right.
Okay? Because you can't go around your whole life, your whole day going, I'm going to catch a negative thought. I'm going to catch a negative, because you got stuff to do.
Right.
You know, people to serve, people to do things you need to do.
Right.
So you catch it a little bit at a time. It's a snowball effect in a good way.
Right.
This is a great snowball.
Right. That's excellent advice. Yeah. Huh.
So one of the things that people ask me, particularly when I'm in a group, is if you were to give someone the most simple way to relieve stress.
Sure.
Just a nugget. Give me a nugget.
Right.
I'll say, I got a nugget. And this is very simple, and it sounds simple, and it is simple, and it works.
Sure.
I call it the 4-5-6 method.
Okay.
It's nothing but a breathing method.
Right.
Okay, and this is part of what I go through in my inductions. I help people to breathe down.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4-5-6 actually means something. It stands for something, and I teach them how to breathe in a different way during this time, and it takes less than 2 minutes.
Okay.
And your body has actually reacted to the breathing.
Right.
And you're in a calmer state. Right. So what you do, and I'm going to show you, let's do it together, okay? So the 4, the 5, and the 6 actually stand for seconds, okay?
Okay.
Now, in yogic breathing, I call it belly breathing, okay? You breathe in through your nose and expand your stomach. Okay, let's breathe in for 4 seconds. Let's hold it for 4 seconds. And let's exhale it for 4 seconds. Out of your mouth. So you'll notice, here's the technique. We breathed in through our nose for 4 seconds as our belly expanded.
Right.
We held it for 4 seconds.
Right.
And then we breathed out through our mouth as our belly contracted.
Right.
Then we do it for 5 seconds. Then we do it for 6 seconds. By the time you're finished with that 3-note breathing exercise, your body is more relaxed.
Yeah.
I'll start and I'll go out to 10
Really?
in some cases when something's really stressing me out.
Yeah.
I'll take it all the way out to 10, and by the time I'm finished, I say, maybe I need to take a nap. I'm very relaxed.
That's awesome.
Okay. The other way to do it, there are other ways to do it,
Right.
but another way to do it is to clench your fist just as tight as you can for 4 seconds. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Feel it? Hold it for 4 seconds. Relax. Do you feel your muscles relaxing, releasing, lengthening even?
Yeah.
You can actually do that without clenching.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get used to the clenching, releasing, you can just release it.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's part of many inductions in hypnosis is just having you release your body, feeling yourself sinking into the chair, into the couch, into the bed, wherever you are listening to it. Obviously, you wouldn't do that in a hypnotist office in the bed,
Right.
but let's say on a couch.
Right.
Just feeling your body relax, sometimes feeling it get heavy and sinking into the couch.
Right.
Sometimes you're floating.
Yeah.
It depends on how your body is reacting. That's why I said in hypnosis it's different. And there are times that I felt heavy and floating at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's just something that everyone can take away.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
I think the more I learn about holistic practices, the more I learn that it's all in theater training, which is why
Sure.
everyone says that, learning to be an actor means learning to be a person. And the more of people like you that I talk to, I realize I just got a degree in personhood.
Right.
And I learned all these really cool techniques that actors have been doing for hundreds of years under the guise of acting, right? When what I was learning to do was breathe and listen and think deeply.
I was very fortunate because my dad was also a performer.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he was a minister all of his life, he actually went to college on a music scholarship
Wow.
for voice.
Wow.
And so as a kid, I would ask him, aren't you nervous about going out there and singing in front of all those people? And he goes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I have butterflies. I let them go
Mm-hmm.
when I go out on stage.
Exactly.
I let them fly. And I actually used that when, for instance, when I was the person that was receiving the kickoff, let's say.
Right.
And I would say, okay, catch the ball, let the butterflies free. And then I would relax, catch the ball, and then go. It's all automatic after that, so different functions and features. Well, we've talked quite a bit about hypnosis.
Sure.
We've talked a little bit about neuro-linguistic programming, or for short NLP, which is a lot easier to say. So, but I wanted to tell you that one of the primary things that I incorporate with and by itself in the other modes is visualization. Okay, when we talked earlier about the spider and making it larger and that's visualization.
Okay.
During hypnosis, when a client is in hypnosis state, I'll use visualization quite a bit in hypnosis, but visualization can also be used outside of hypnosis. And it's very well known in the sports world, okay? And I think it's pretty well known in the arts and performance world as well. But there are so many different ways that you can use visualization. And I always like to think about what Albert Einstein said about imagination being the most important thing. Well, that's what visualization is. It's using your imagination and seeing it. Now, some people are better able to see things, and when I use the word visualization, it automatically seems to point to something, seeing something because it's visual. But I also use a different type of visualization. Let's put it in quote marks, okay? When in hypnosis and outside of hypnosis, I talk about the senses. Okay, hearing something. For me, let's say I hear a particular song. Oh yeah, I remember that when I was a junior in high school, and we were driving down the road, and not only can I hear it, I start feeling stuff in my body. That's my emotional reaction to it. So when you combine visualization, which I'm using that term both for seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, all the senses. Connecting the visualization to emotion, to me, is a key element. Okay, it's feeling what you're seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, whatever. Okay, so when you can connect those two, that is powerful. That is very powerful, and that's part of what I weave in to a hypnosis session. If you were to ever look at my intake sheet, I ask things like that. What is your favorite place to relax? And then I'll have questions about check these boxes, and they'll, depending on which ones they are, and I know the code, they'll say, oh, this is an auditory person, this is a visual person, this is part auditory, part visual, this is a person that likes to feel things, I like to get my hands on it, I like to play in the dirt, that type of thing. So I wanted to give you a combination of both hypnosis, self-hypnosis, although all hypnosis is actually self-hypnosis, okay, if you really boil it down. Hypnosis and visualization. And this is something everyone can do anytime, and if they do it all the time, they will have a better chance of it happening than not. Okay? 5 minutes at the beginning of your sleep. You're laying down to bed. If you go through the breathing exercise, you relax, you feel your body getting heavier. You do this yourself, okay? And then you visualize and you pick the subject matter. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow I want to be X. I want to do something tomorrow X. I want to feel something tomorrow X, okay? Start visualizing. This is only 5 minutes. Start visualizing what that looks like. Seeing yourself actually doing it as if you're looking on a big screen TV, okay? Oh, I'm watching myself go through this particular thing today, and it's enjoyable, and I'm seeing myself be successful at this. I'm seeing myself growing a fingernail. I'm seeing myself not pulling an eyelash out. I'm watching my eyelashes grow. Whatever it is you want to accomplish. I want to be more peaceful today. Look at me being peaceful. Okay. Now I want you to feel it. I want you to see it or hear it, taste it, smell it, feel it. Whatever senses you connect with the most, I want you to do that back and forth, back and forth. This is just time for you. This 5 minutes before I fall asleep, this is mine. Okay, I'm going to take it. All this other stuff can go away for now. I'm going to just concentrate on this. I'm going to play the movie in my mind. This is my movie. I'm the director. I can do whatever I want. I can dream whatever I want. For 5 minutes, this is what I'm going to imagine. And if you do that consistently, over a matter of weeks, you're going to start seeing some results. And you're actually self-hypnotizing by doing that. You take the few minutes, 2 minutes it took for us to do the breathing exercise and release your body, and then that's 7 minutes out of your life before you go to bed. As you're laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep.
Putting your phone away or
Oh,
TV off or the whatever away.
there's lots of other things that don't have anything to do with hypnosis that I could tell you about the sleep cycle.
Right.
But anyway, yes, I listen to hypnosis or meditation as I fall asleep every single night.
Wow.
And I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be a particular thing I want to focus on, and I'll listen to that one. Many of them I did myself for myself, and I'll listen to myself talking to myself. And that's very helpful.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't want to listen to myself. I want to listen to some other voice. And so I have other ones that I use. And the great thing about today is that if you want to know about something or have a resource to get it, it is available. I have a friend of mine who hadn't actually come into the century, so he still calls it the interweb.
Not that.
And I think now he does it because it's funny.
Yeah.
But anything you want on the interweb, you can get.
It's there.
And on your phone, etc. I mean, there's an app I use every day called Peak.
Mm-hmm.
It's for making your brain perform better for activities. Okay, it's free. You can upgrade and all that. You know how that goes, but it's a free, and you can exercise your brain every day. They have different games to play, and it's fun. There's an app called Calm or Insight, I believe, where they have different types of meditations and hypnosis things. And I think they have a free portion and a paid portion if you want to do.
Right.
I mean, you can go on YouTube and get all types of stuff and learn about it. So we're in a time in our history. I'm excited about it. I love it. I don't want the good old days. I want the good new days because we've got access to everything that we could imagine, and we'll have more. And some of it's great, some of it isn't. You determine what's great and what's useful to you and use it. Don't worry about the other stuff. Let everybody else complain about it. You get what you want and use it to your benefit.
So usually my favorite question I get to ask is, what specialized knowledge of yours can I take and give to my neighbors? But I think you've just answered that in a big way. So we have 4, 5, 6. We have visualization before bed and incorporating senses into that. And also we have take what serves you and leave what doesn't.
Yeah. I don't think that's the most important takeaway, though.
Oh, okay. What is?
That there is a way to improve.
Okay.
You're not alone. There are people that can help and want to help. As a neighbor, you can tell them that. And showing them that neighborly spirit shows them they're not alone. That's a huge thing right now, okay? I mean, like I said, I have a daughter at home who's going to virtual school. It is weird. It's very strange for her. It's very strange for me, obviously, but it's very strange for her. And we do different things to help her not feel so alone. And just think about people who aren't technologically advanced enough or don't have access to the technology to do that. How alone are they feeling? Okay? So if you know someone like that, you have knowledge, not just from this discussion we have, but generally, to help someone know they're not alone. To me, that's the biggest takeaway. There's help. There's assistance. You can do things yourself. You have access to things. I know the libraries, many of them are open, so you do have access to that in a limited way. That's the takeaway I want people to have. There is a way to do it.
I love that. There is a way to do it. Well, we have overrun our hour learning about all sorts of wonderful things. So what is next for you? The floor is yours. What are you excited about?
Well, I'm excited about the pain management course that I'm going through and the certification that I'll get for that, because I'll be able to add another element to my practice that I think is beneficial, not to just the people that I normally serve, but to just about anybody. and maybe even me. So that's something I'm excited about. I think that going forward, my biggest hope is that I'm able to help more people.
Right.
Expand my knowledge. I'm one of those people, and my whole family's like this, so I think it's probably inbred. And that is, we just want to learn something.
Yeah.
Every day I want to learn something. And I love learning. And particularly learning something I want to learn. It's different when you're in school and you have to learn what they tell you have to learn. Some of it's fun, some of it isn't. And you find out later in life that learning actually is fun when you're learning something that you want to learn.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I use a lot of that knowledge that I learned formally. Not all of it, but most of it probably.
Right.
Over the years, and but now, once you get out of school and you have some time to yourself, you can learn other things that are more interesting to you or more exciting to you.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that, and that's about it at this point. Just want to help more people.
So I'm a person who wants to come get help from you. How do I do it? Where do I find you?
Well, I would give you my website, but it has it got hit, and I'm redoing it right now, so it's not up and running at the present time. But that should be, I'd say, probably by the end of the month that'll be ready to roll.
Okay.
And I have a business number that they can call. Okay, so it's 804 404 3257. 804-404-3257. Yep.
So,
and if you call, if you call the folks at Zoe Therapy, here it is.
Yes, we can refer you on.
Yeah, that's an easy way to do it because the referral is, boom, they hit me up. You can also send an email to info@mindperformancegroup.com.
Wonderful.
So
we can reach you by email, we can reach you by phone, or we can reach you through a referral through Zoe Therapy.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really mind-opening and fun.
Good.
And I'm appreciative. Thank you so much for coming and being on our little show.
Well, I love to talk about it anytime, and it's fun when I see people learning, as you would probably know. I mean, when you see somebody actually learning, it's a satisfaction. It's a type of satisfaction that's really great.
I learned a lot today.
Good.
So thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
All right, friends. See you next week.
Bye.